Jose researches LS swap in an S10. I'll show you what we came up with for the K swap.
The right way to swap an S10.
Yeah, the good swap. Anyone who's got LS, don't hate. Anyways, this is what we came up with. So in this video, we're going to show you how to install our mounts. We went from that to that. So basically, this setup over here is like our trans brace, that if you use the ZF trans, you'll be able to utilize our DIY kit. You have to weld these. You have to weld these onto the chassis. This piece onto here, and then this piece onto the chassis, and then these bolt right in. Pretty easy. I can show you on the truck. And then this is our mount system that we came up with using 70A durometer mounts. You can also get it in billet, but I wanted to use the rubber bushing, a little softer. In my drag Civic, I use 78 bushings and it's been totally fine. So we decided to race the truck on 78, a little more smooth, a little more comfortable. But if you want billet, if you're gonna go turbo or something, we would recommend doing the billet ones. So we'll have that as an option, but we're just gonna go ahead and install these into the truck and kind of show you the step-by-step procedure. It's super easy, so just follow along. All right, so we're gonna install the passenger side first. You just grab the rubber side. This little tab will face up this side. After you remove the stock mount from the car, which would kind of look like this, just with something else on it. This was from our first time when I first mocked the motor up, but you'll just remove this whole bracket out of there. You don't need any more. And then you take this and you basically just screw it right into the chassis. So just screw her on down. Screw it. Screw it. And then once you get it nice and snug, it ain't gotta be crazy tight. Just get it in there, and then basically this will just sit on this platform. It's tight. This little tab goes to the bottom. You got your threaded part on the top. You grab your passenger side motor mount. Now we braced it on the bottom, so you have to like slip it in like that. That's why it's notched. We have the motor supported on a jack right now. Surprisingly enough, the K series like fits really well in here. So you really won't need much to just kind of center it, but you'll go ahead and just slip it on. Now, because I have it on the jack, I'm gonna have to push it a little bit to just get it to seat. Once it sits flat, you can kind of see it's in there flat now. I take a Honda, it's typical, I don't know, you'll probably want to call it a 14 mil, but pretty much any Honda 14 will do. And screw it right into the motor. Don't mind me. We might include the hardware to bolt it to the motor. Maybe. Just depends on kind of how much we're going to charge it, because I'm sure a lot of you, especially if you're putting a Honda motor in something, you probably have a million of these laying around anyways. So it's really not that big of a deal for you to get your own, because you probably have a whole bucket full. But I might include them, or if you don't want to get them and you want me to get them and I don't include them, just shoot us an email or something, or call us and say, hey, give me some goddamn bolts with the kit. Anyways, tighten it to the chassis first, or to the motor first and the chassis last. I hope you speed this part of the video up. And it can make funny noises like... You want that, or you want to use the plate over it? I saw someone else buy these mounts and turbo the S10 make it super crazy fast, because apparently that's what YouTube wants to see, because everyone asked me as a turbo because of my intake filter. Anywho, bolt it to the chassis, put your nut on top, tighten it down. Don't worry about scratching it. Nicely powder coated.
Did you already scratch it?
I mean, it shouldn't scratch because it's powder coated. If it scratches, no returns. Whoa. So pretty easy, not crazy. Took us a lot of time to develop something that worked, that we raced on, that is strong but yet light, because that thing is not light. And if you're putting K series, you probably care about weight, so buy them. All right, so we're gonna do the passenger side.
Driver side.
Driver side, because we just did the passenger side. Same thing. Put the rubber mount on first after you take the other piece off. Find the hole, it's dark in here. So this side actually matters. You have to have it not fully tightened in order to make ease of slipping this on. So what I do is I just snug it down, kind of get it generally where I want it. And I don't know if you'll be able to see, but I have the mount turned at like 90 degrees.
Just pick up where you were.
So when you're putting it down, you need to have it offset to the right a little bit. This one's opposite. The little tab faces up instead of down like the other side. But you got to have it at a little 90 so that you can sneak the mount in. So pretty straightforward. Stick it behind the starter. Get it to finagle its way in there. What makes this hard is the thermostat housing is like right there, and I have the swivel one, so it's a little bigger. This side uses OEM Honda 17 mils heads. It's not 17 mil thread pitch, but I'm gonna call it a 17 mil because that's most likely what you call it. I guess I probably should have said, but I'm gonna show you the bolt difference. This is for the one that has the extension piece on it. You'll notice the block is kind of recessed back there, so we included, it's built into the mount, a little kind of like a spacer to keep the plate flat. You want to use the longer bolt in that one, and then these short little 17s on the other two. So it's pretty straightforward. But again, if you have a Honda bucket of bolts, you have all these bolts. If not, call me. Get you some bolts. You take your fancy dancy blue point, ratcheting, make sure it's on tighten. Tighten them up.
I love how it's still very accessible with just a standard wrench.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to use a swivel socket and a long extension so I don't have to stand on the tire and almost eat shit, but for the vlog.
You see the wheel just shaking.
That's because my legs are burning, you fucking dick. Part of the install, your legs have to burn. No pain, no gain. Alright.
You just fall to the ground.
Tight. Then you grab your fancy dancy washer and your lock nut so your shit don't go vibrating when you're doing all the racing with all your Bald Eagles S10. And you can do what I want to do, and you can call out Cletus to a race. But we haven't called him out yet, so don't beat me to it.
A road course race, not a drag race.
Oh yeah, no, he wouldn't get me. Road course, I stand a chance. Even though he probably has quadruple the horsepower is what this motor makes.
So realistically,
Tight.
putting in your mounts and then putting in the trans mounts that we supply, you should probably have the motor and trans bolted into the car, ready to go, welded within like an hour and a half.
If it took you an hour and a half to put this shit in, you probably shouldn't work on your own car. Because
well, the motor mount's 15 minutes. The trans mount, you got to weld, prep, do all the nice stuff.
yeah, but realistically, it should only take you
An hour.
a half an hour to fully do the rear. We cut them to the right length. It's cut to the right angle. All you literally have to do is weld 2 1 5/8 beads around a plate twice. So we'll show you that mount next, but here, this is this mount installed, so this is kind of what it should look like. Anyways, that's what it looks like. In nice and mounted. So I'll pull the jack out, and then you can kind of see how it sits. she's stiff.
Oh man.
As anyone knows, 78 is pretty beastie. But like I said, if you're gonna go turbo, then just buy the billet version. We're gonna have it up. If I don't have it by the time you're ready, I have it available now. I just haven't got them from the order yet, so they'll be here soon. That's it. We'll show you the trans mount, and then that'll be the full mount install. My trans mount's already done and welded and was beta version, so the ones we include now are nicer, so when you're buying it, it's going to look a little nicer than what I'm about to show you, but we'll just show you what we have because I welded mine already, so I'm not going to cut everything off just to show you how to do it again when it's pretty easy. So we'll go to the next clip and show you how to do that. Alright. Hey folks, welcome to underneath my S10. Anyways, here's our trans mount. Very easy. Basically, all you got to do, the supplied angle piece, it's 1 5/8 DOM tubing, cut at a 15-degree pitch, will slip right underneath here. All you got to do is weld it to your factory brace. Bolt hole to the trans mount, which is also included, the bushing. I have upgraded poly ones. I'm going to include either poly or rubber in the kits. Most street cars just use the rubber one because you really don't need it to be super rigid. So, but anyways, bolt it in. We have 2 holes, just depending on where you want to weld it. If it's easier for you to weld it over here, weld it over there. So you have options. I did it like this. So I put them both down here, welded it around, and then I welded the supplied plate to the DOM tubing, and then literally just nut and bolt it on both sides. So pretty easy. Hopefully you guys can kind of see. I know we're not exactly in the ideal situation on here because we're on the ground and it's very dirty and gross under here since we raced it all year, and I don't like to clean my shit. So that's it. Any questions? We're gonna have like a bunch of pictures and stuff included with the mounts and the install. We're also gonna offer other things, but this is the trans mount. You can use mine, you can make your own. We're gonna sell it separately, so if you don't want to use mine, don't. If you want to make your own, cool. I would like to make a tubular version of this brace. Just, it was nice using the factory one because of the way the exhaust rounded, because it actually bent up. So I could make a nice tubular one, be fancy. It just, I don't want to put too much R&D into something if it's not super popular. So if a bunch of other people start doing the swaps and they want tubular versions of things, we'll have like a version 2 of our mount kit, upgrade it, make it all fancy, whatever you want. But this is how we're doing it for now. If, like I said, if people start wanting crazy stuff, then we'll just make it another version. But this is it, version 1.
And as soon as we get the rear end back in, which looks like a ghost town back there, but as soon as it's back in, we'll get this thing on a lift and get more, better photos. Maybe we might be able to have some angles underneath the car to show how the mounts look, but that's to be continued.
I'm stuck. We just installed the motor mounts as you saw earlier in the video. We just wanted to go over everything that we're going to offer as a package. So like the first thing we're going to have obviously is the motor mount. So that's already up on the website. By the time you're seeing this video, some of this stuff's already going to be for sale on the website. But we're just going to go over everything that we're going to have eventually. Just because we're so busy, it's probably going to take a while for us to get everything listed. But let's just go over everything we have. So we're going to do the motor mounts first. Obviously, that's what this video is. That's the most important thing. When you buy our mounts, it's designed to work with the BMW ZF 5-speed trans. It'll probably work with other transmissions as well. It's just the tunnel placement. You're going to have to like bash it if you're trying to use a bigger body than the BMW trans. So we recommend using the BMW one. Also, we have the transmission, the DIY weld-in one, included for the rear trans bracket. It's pretty easy. All you gotta do is weld 2 pieces, which we tried to show you in the video. But so after that, we're gonna have the adapter plate to this transmission available from K-Power. Probably list their manifold and just like all the stuff that I used on this from them. Just so everyone knows, you can buy it right from us or you can go buy it from them. It's the same price, but we just want to make it easy, like one spot where you can buy it all. The next thing we're gonna do is the radiator and fan kit. So it's a custom setup. We're gonna have the fan and everything as a package deal for you guys. So literally all you have to do is just buy it, and it comes with brackets that all you have to do is just tap a few holes for the Honda 10 mil, which will be included. The bracketry is not the exact as what you're seeing in the video. The new brackets are a lot nicer. This was just prototyping, so it'll be the whole fan radiator brackets. As far as like the radiator and hoses go, we're not going to include those or sell them. Anyone who wants them, you just need one for a B16 Honda Civic Si 99 2000 for the lower hose here. And the upper hose I used 04 TSX. And then I just cut a straight piece because in mine I put this little adapter. So I just wanted it easy and something simple that I could just replace at the track. So this hose right here is from a TSX 04 to 06 TSX. This is for a B16. So if I'm ever at the track and I break something, I can go to any hardware store, auto parts store. Maybe
well, Home Depot.
Yeah, Home Depot apparently sells radiator hoses, but yeah, just so something simple. The next thing is...
Oh, and they're both lower radiator hoses for those cars.
Yeah, both lowers. And then you have to have the swivel neck on the thermostat housing. You can't use a factory swivel neck. It won't work with the swap. So you have to use a swivel one. You can use PLM or K-tuned, or many other companies make it. We'll probably offer a couple different options. The truck is currently running the PLM one. It works. It's not the greatest quality of one. The K-tuned is much nicer. But this one works. So it's what I had. The next thing that we're also going to offer is the power steering lines. You can't use a power steering pump on the motor. There's just no room. So what we did was we kept the factory gearbox, or the steering box, and we made our own lines to our remote electric power steering. So we will have the line kit available, and I'll tell you what this is. We'll have a link probably in the description, but it's from a Mercedes. So it's very easy to wire in. It's only 3 wires, power, ground, and then your switched power. And the fluid and the box are just one unit. So the reservoir is built in, nice and easy. And then we'll include the high pressure lines and the low pressure line. And then all you gotta do is get your own pump. What else?
Oh, and the fittings for that.
Yeah, that'll be complete. And then we're also gonna include the bracket that I use in the front for the power steering. Multiple companies make it. This one's from PLM, or Precision Works they call it, just so that you can keep the K24 alternator and all the stuff simple, because obviously you're running in a K24. This bracket just made it super easy. A lot of people are like shaving, trying to get the OEM one. This post mount bracket setup is super easy and just makes it way better for any rear wheel drive K series. Like, I think that's the way to go when you're doing like a non-Honda swap. So I'm just gonna have that. Next we're gonna do is the wiring harness. So we're gonna have a complete plug and play engine harness for the Haltech 1500. We're gonna have it all nice and loomed. This is our prototype. Now that we know it works, we'll probably go back and clean it up, but since we've raced on it all year and had no issues, now we know it's ready to go. So we're gonna have that. Basically, you'll be able to just buy it in many different ways. It's gonna be just the harness. You can buy it with the harness with the Haltech, or you can just go all out and buy what we did. So that's literally all you have to do is do a couple power wires and a couple grounds, and we'll include all the relays, the Haltech, the harness. You can get it with the dash. So a complete plug and play kit. It would be for street or off-road use, depending on what relays you want. We can kind of custom build it to how you want it, but we're going to include it with three relays to do like fuel pump and stuff like that. So that'd be pretty plug and play. I don't really think there's much else besides, like, you can choose your own throttle body. We ran the Porsche one. We want to drive by wire. Some people probably want to keep it simple with just a cable, you know, just a B series one with an adapter. Any of the other questions and like fuel and stuff like that, just hit us up, because we literally have everything you need. We're just only going to list the main S10 specific stuff in one place. I'm not going to list like everything, because that's kind of generic. So if you do need something else, we can help you with it. If you have any questions on what we used in the build, just call us or message us or whatever, because the more K-Swap S10s out there, the cooler it is. So hopefully more people do it. It's super fun, and it's really pretty standard. There's nothing crazy. Another thing that we'll probably have is the oil pan
A stock oil pan will work if you modify it, but we have a custom unit 2 oil pan that's baffled, and it has a drain plug relocated because we keep the factory subframe in the front. There's no modifications done to the actual chassis up front. So everything in the front of this build is 100% S10. So like drop forks, QA1 stuff, that's all for S10. There's nothing custom in the front of this besides our motor mounts and like all the stuff I just went over, but the actual frame and stuff is all stock. We just wanted to kind of point out the main things we're going to have on the website. So you can go to rudsracing.com, just click on the shop tab. There's a drop down that says S10 K-Swap, and we should have everything listed right there. Cut.